Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce presents the Bowie Business Journal, a program designed to keep our community informed about important business and economic issues.
Hello, I'm Bert Oliver, and welcome to this week's Bowie Business Journal program. And today we've got people that are business people. And I'm going to just introduce our guest and let you tell us what you do. So I'll start with Kelly, since you're to my left. Kelly Pierce.
Hi, Bert. Thank you for having us. My name is Kelly Pierce, and I'm the Executive Director for the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce, and I've been with them for 8 years now.
Oh, that's great. And our new president.
Bert, good afternoon. My name is Vinay McNary Edwards, and I am honored to be the new president of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. And I've been a member of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce for over 6 years.
Well, that's great. Well, it's good to have you with us.
Thank you.
You know, it's the strange thing about every time I meet a new president of the chamber, I realize this is going to be a busy year for you.
Yes.
I've been there. But a lot of people, and the reason for it, I think, is because Bowie has become a chamber. I've got to put in a comment here. Bowie has become one of the, not only the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce, but one of the Chamber of Commerces in the state of Maryland. Yes. It's been successful, growing with membership. And Kelly and I guess, go back a little earlier than you do, before she became the director. And membership this year, I think, Kelly, is almost 300?
Membership's back up to about 275 right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was in your earlier that I was at a Texas chamber, and when I traveled to Texas, I was sort of aware of chambers there. And some of them were growing well, and some were not growing well. But one chamber there had almost 1,000 members. Wow. So years passed, I knew that. And when my local manager would invite me to go to a meeting, it was an assembly meeting. They didn't have time for a meeting. They didn't have to go to the hotel now, I guess. Anyway, the important thing is their membership retention was another area that I think is a challenge for both of you.
It is.
Yes.
So retention, would that be the greatest and most important thing? How about growth?
I think that growth is easier than retention. Retention is making sure that the membership gets value for that investment of joining and wants to renew each year. The renewal and the retention for me is more challenging than getting the new members, because although we talk to businesses in the community and we work to get new members, it always surprises me the number of people who join because they heard about us, they saw something in the paper, they went on the internet, and they found us. So a lot of people join on their own. It's just finding ways to then keep them.
Yeah, this last year was a tremendous year, I believe, for you guys.
Yes, indeed.
Well, what have you got on your plate that you want to tell us about? Any new plan?
Bert, I have a whole lot on my plate because first and foremost, I want to continue what our past president, Lynn Lucci, has started. And basically that is building our membership, presenting to some and introducing to others the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. A lot of times you find individuals that are not joining because they're not really aware of what great opportunities we have to offer. And it is my job, along with the great board of directors that we have, to go out within the community and touch those individual businesses that are out there and let them know that we are there for them. We have wonderful opportunities for them. We want to help them to build and promote their own business. So retention is something that's very high on my list, as well as just getting out in the community with the visibility. Because again, people have no problem in paying the membership to join a chamber, but they want to see what they get in return from being a member of the chamber. And it is my job, as well as the board, as well as Kelly and Ms. Christine, to make sure those individual members see what they're getting. And if they're not getting what they feel that they should be getting, what can we do to help them receive that? So my goal is just building the membership, the visibility part, making sure that when there's something going on in our community, that the chamber's there to where it's not that you see us from a distance, but you can actually come up and take the opportunity to speak with us and share with us rather, what you would like to see us do to make the chamber better.
Sounds good. Kelly, you'll be busy. How do you reach out to a newly formed or new business moving into the community? Have you got some method of an initial invitation to them?
We usually try and stop either one of us in the office or one of the board members, and we now have a membership committee that's building back up again, to take a directory by the new office or place of business. That's a good way for people to get an overview of what the chamber's about, to see a face that's associated with it, because the directory has all the board members, all the committees, the different awards program, a listing of all the members, and the membership application on the back page. So it's a useful marketing tool. I mean,
Sure.
we've built it to be kind of everything in one package. If you can't or don't want to go to the website to look at all of that information, you can have this booklet that gives you all that information.
Yeah, that's good. And in your book, I know that there's a lot of businesses that are not located in Bowie, but they do business in Bowie.
That is correct.
And when I see all of the businesses in the directory, that no doubt are business people with their location, that's great compliment to you that they were willing to become a member. And a lot of chambers don't think like that. And a lot of business people don't think like that either. But if they support where they're gaining most of their business, that's great.
Yeah.
That is
And
true.
one of your oldest members are not really, their location of their business is not really in Bowie. Bel Air Engineering is an example.
That's true.
Been very supportive all these years. And they actually, their business is closer to Waldorf probably. Not Waldorf, but up Marlboro.
Yeah.
But that's an example that I would want to illustrate that I've noticed in your directory. A lot of people are getting the word that it's an active chamber, has a lot to gain to become part of. But let me ask you about, man, what else do you do? With all this work you, I don't think we plugged your
Oh my goodness, I'm also Assistant Vice President, Branch Sales Manager for Oline Bank, formerly the Washington Savings Bank here in Bowie. And then on Wednesday night, I'm the producer and host of Gospel Music at its Best, heard on WYCB Radio 1 station, bringing you the best in gospel music.
Wow. Do you ever get any 8-hour day sleep?
Usually in the afternoons, like really, really late, I do, but I enjoy what I do because I enjoy interacting with the community. And I feel as though whether I'm being the banker or the radio announcer or the president of the chamber, it allows me to interact with our citizens and our businesses and to help.
That's great. That's really great. Well, and Oline happened to take over. There was only 2 banks in the city of Bowie, city limits, that were corporate banks here, home banks, right? Or was there 3?
Just the 2 headquartered here.
Just the 2.
And now the 2 have become 1.
That is correct.
Now, I used to brag about having 2 banks with their corporate headquarters in Bowie. Now I can only say I know of 1 bank.
But just think
So
about
my
it like
bragging rights
this.
have been reduced.
Well, no, not necessarily. Just think of it like this. Instead of it being 2, it's 1 large one.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, I'm really fond of the Oline people. They do a great job. And when they first came to the area, moved their headquarters here, I felt like it was good to see business support that chamber.
Mr. Cornelson, he's a wonderful president.
Him. And I go back to the days when I was with economic development. The guy that was chairman at the time, I think he owned a hotel down in South Prince George County, near the racetrack. They started the bank that long time back. So I guess it was Oline then. I didn't realize it was.
Okay.
But I think he's still on the board. I noticed a car the other day over there. And a year ago, I had a Florida tag on it. Now it's a Maryland tag. So apparently that I thought he went to Maryland. It's someone I happen to know from the economic development days, you know. So let me ask you about your membership committees. I noticed that's one of your efforts this year, that you move quickly to get committee chair people. So if you'd like to start, and if you'll both join in on that. Membership committee?
We have a membership committee, and it is headed by Mr. C.J. Masterson. And he basically is in charge of coming up with ways in which we can solicit and retain our membership. And so he's very good at what he does. He actually works for Meridian, and that's something that he does in his own personal job as far as going out to seek business. And we were very excited that he wanted to chair our committee for membership. And so we look forward to new businesses, all new businesses that hear us today. Don't be surprised if Mr. Masterson will be coming with one of our directories trying to solicit your business.
Good. What would be the next? What reason I put membership first is, to me, that's personally the most important one.
Yes.
And what's the next? One of the next is Kelly.
Legislative. We have legislative, and that is chaired by Mr. Craig Muckle from Safeway.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, he's public affairs. He's been out in front of the cameras for years, and he is a great individual to head that particular membership committee, and we're just glad to have him. And he stays up on top of everything that's happening, and he gives a full detailed report at our meetings. And it's nothing to see him at council meetings or in Upper Marlboro.
And you know, as a comment on the legislative committee, over the years, and there have been times that business people came to the chamber to help with some problem they individually had. It may not have been entirely a legislative matter, but a zoning decision, which would be legislation too. And consequently, there had been, over the years, some difficulties too with non-business people that didn't like what the chamber supported in a legislative situation, like a road being enlarged, like in the case of 450. That was something the chamber way back then. I was not the president that year, but I was on the board, and I voted against what the chamber wanted, but the chamber did it anyway. But then I had a citizen walk up to me at a shopping center one time and said, "I will never, never forget you voting for that expansion of the highway that's going to ruin our city." I said, it didn't matter to her that I voted against it in the chamber. Only me and the dentist, Ciccone, with only two voting. And then, of course, this is not always easy, but it was because a lot of people felt like it was done just strictly for business with no consideration of anyone else at all. Well, that was wrong. And there was a meeting at the high school in our chamber at the time. He was president of Bowie State College, and he asked me to go with him. And he was there to make our presentation of the chamber's position. Although I voted against it, I went with it. And then there was an audience of about 75 people there that were really upset about not only the city support that decision, but they illuminated the fact that the business community did too. And I thought it was very unfair that they did that. And I heard that for years, even though, as I said in board meeting, I voted against. The concern they had was that the city and the county was ignoring the wishes of the citizens. And apparently they didn't, that was a problem. So it took a couple of years of some of those people that were outspoken about it really were not supportive of the chamber. But it took a while to change that, because the chamber and most of the other decisions that the city, we may have had a person to go and give input, like a legislative committee chairperson to the city, or many times to the state, were really things that would help people, like employment and like bad check stuff. I remember when that occurred, I went to the county to support their the new law they put in about that, which lowered it to $25. You know, you could actually get time. Anyway, the interesting thing is there are some times that the chamber isn't recognized as a community strength, but business only. But I don't think that's the case. I think the people that I know that recognize the chamber now is supportive of the community. and the people in the community. And that's where our business comes from.
Well, Bert, one thing I can say about our legislative committee, both present and past, before we take any type of stand, we do our homework.
You know that.
And we
That's good.
talk to different legislative individuals, and we even listen to the community. And so anytime that you see that the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce, or even the Prince George's Chamber of Commerce, any of your Chamber of Commerce taking any type of legislative stand, it's when we've done our homework, because we want to make sure that when we go and we say that we are supporting this particular piece of legislation, we want our citizens to know that we have done in-depth homework, in-depth research, to where we feel that this would be most beneficial to all concerned.
That's great. And with Greg Merkel, you've got a great chairman there, I'll tell you that. I've watched him over the years in his business
Yes.
dealings, been from my tour with economic development, and the opening of the town center store, and how well, and he was always out front. And I was so proud to see him become active in the chamber. Over the years, he had not, he must have, because he was quite active in Prince George's Chamber for
Yes.
so many, many years.
Yes.
Well, you're lucky there. And how about the membership we've covered, legislation we've covered,
Yes, sir.
legislation committee? What would be the next, you got what, 4 committees?
5.
Five.
Corporate and community relations
Now, what's that all about?
was new
That's a
2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the committees were new as of a couple years ago. Corporate and community relations is a committee. It was interesting when you were talking about, having the community having a higher opinion of this organization,
Sure.
because we are out in the community doing things, and that's what their charge is, to be involved and to find ways for business to give back to the community. We have about 15 nonprofit members in the chamber, so we have tried to find ways the last couple years to showcase them and get businesses more aware of who those nonprofits are and what the needs are and who they might partner with. So we've had, in the last couple of years, 2 mixers that were showcases where we allowed the nonprofits to set up information tables. This past June at Bowie Fest, in the lobby area where we really just had the information desk for the chamber as part of Bowie Fest before going into the Home and Health Expo, we set up tables and allowed our nonprofits to come set up for free there and give out information. We've partner with the Bowie Pantry on some projects. We've partnered with Tasker Middle School on providing backpacks and school supplies. And I think even to take it one step further, and not that it's necessarily part of that committee, but things that we were already doing, we partner with the city of Bowie to do a business recognition program, and we partner with the city to do a public safety awards program, so that we are reaching out into the community and doing more than just focusing on ourselves.
That's great. And as you mentioned all of those people, I remember you adopted a shelf at the food pantry.
We adopted a shelf for
Peanut
peanut butter, so we encourage people to bring peanut butter by the office or
Yes.
to mixers. There's always a stray jar of peanut butter showing up.
I'll tell you what, that's interesting, but every time I think about doing that, I think, golly, gee, I would have to replace that in my pantry. But
You just need to pick up an extra jar when you go to the store.
I will
Or you
next
go
time.
to, or you go to one of the big box stores and pick up the double pack, and one's
That's
for
right.
you and one's for them. And
That is true.
I'll do that. That's the greatest 12 o'clock snack I can think of with the Ritz. The other committee?
The other committee is the Business Development Committee, which also started a couple years ago, and they've worked on providing workshops for businesses. So right now we're doing this year a series of business tools workshops. It's every other month. The next one is actually this month on Friday, September 20th, and we do them at lunchtime, so kind of a lunch and learn,
Yeah.
and have different speakers who are chamber members come in for whatever the topic of the month is. So this month, it's about legal issues for business, and then in November it'll be financing issues for business. And we're having somebody from the county economic development and financial services corporation come in and talk at that one.
That's good. You know,
Yeah.
we've been pretty fortunate in this community and in this area on a lower unemployment rate. But I remember you conducted a meeting one time with I think, I'm not sure, it was a few years ago on retention of employees. And I noticed that's still a problem. And you'd think with this unemployment figures, even though we're better than most areas, it's still, retention may be a problem. And to me, I formed a committee when I was with the Workforce Development Partnership. We formed a committee on retention. Well, after we got the committee up and running and brought all these people in, and doggone, the economy goes haywire. And how can you retain people when they're letting people go?
Right,
In some
that's
cases,
true.
even in our area.
Right, right.
But all those things are very important, and the Chamber has a great opportunity to do that. The county, no doubt, still do certain things that you might do, but they don't have the ability that they may have once had as far as numbers, but they also have other things that are higher commitments for them too. But how about,
And then the Women in Business Committee, you know, I would be remiss, they're the fifth committee and are very active twice a year, two big events, one in the spring that's the fashion show and taste of Bowie, and the other one that is actually next week on September 18th, that's the Women's Expo that we have vendor table set up. We're having a guest speaker come for the evening, and both of those are the major fundraisers for our Women in Business Scholarship Program.
that's good. Now, the next week, we may not get our show on the air before next week. Normally it's Thursday after Tuesday, I'm not sure now. But just in case it is now, where would this be held?
It's being held at the Comfort Inn in Bowie from 5 o'clock until 9 o'clock on Wednesday, September 18th.
That's great. There's a lot of new businesses signed up for new women's business.
There are quite a number who, of the 30 vendor spaces that we sell, because it's a limited area that we can set them up, probably about half have been with us before, and another half are people that are new that heard about us and heard about the event and are interested in participating. And it was interesting, it was the same way with Bowie Fest this year. This was the first year we had a lot of businesses participate that we've never seen before. So it was good that they saw this as an opportunity to get the word out about their business and what they're doing.
That's good. I remember when that first started too, and it was held at the Elks Lodge over in Crofton. There was a big turnout there. And it's been quite a while. And I'm sure glad to see that doing well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that all of the named committees?
That is the 5 committees.
Five committees. That's great. You know, and I know in a lot of your outreach is changed to the internet. You think that's working better for you than many other methods?
Yeah, I think
I
that
really do.
using email is working. We use Constant Contact. I think as of January this year, we finally are set up to accept membership online if people want to join online and accept registration for all the events online, which has definitely got the interest of people who may or may not be a member, who see something on the website and want it immediately. So it's that certainly has helped too with registration at events.
Well, that's interesting. I'm just, like I said, my sons are dragging me into the new 20th century, maybe I'd say. 21st? But anyway, they've done things, you know, being a local business person too, I had a company that worked at office in Virginia and Rockville and so forth, and we had customers in Pennsylvania. I tried to get my sons to concentrate locally and not jump out there and just work toward it, which happens sometime also. Like the Old Line Bank, Prince Frederick, all of a sudden we got 2 days work down in that area, so Old Line Bank in Prince Frederick was no jump by our office from Bowie there. But the interesting thing is the internet and how easily you can advertise. And I found I look as great as I am on rather picking up the phone and call. I went to the website you have, and it's very well done, I think. And as a matter of fact, this show probably will be on that website shortly.
Wonderful.
Got to get a doodad to give Jim.
Yeah,
to get a
I've
copy.
got it on my desk.
The other things, I guess, would be, we talked about this two-term president-elect, vice president now is probably most eligible. Have you made a difference in that person, developing them in case they want to run for president. As your bylaws stand now, how could a person run for president? It's not an automatic move like it once was with your bylaws.
Correct.
So the board has to select
That is
the
correct.
president, second term.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
And you'd be limited to 2 terms.
That is correct.
What if we wanted to keep you long?
The only way I could be kept longer would be if the bylaws were changed.
Okay.
But I think the way we have it set up now, it allows the president an opportunity to get their feet wet and to continue the legacy of the previous president as far as building the actual Chamber of Commerce. And with that being said, once you get that first year under your belt and then you continue with the second one, by the time the third one comes, it's time for a new president because they have new ideas as well.
Sure.
So I think it works out well.
Well, it sounds good, and I wish you well in that idea.
Thank you so much, Bert.
The whole idea, too, initially, was not too many people were willing to serve 2 terms.
That's true.
Lynn Lucci blazed the trail there, and you would be the first to make that choice. But it would be your choice, too.
That is true.
Right? The interesting thing about that is I'm coming to believe that this second-year experience is very good. And I personally was against it when I was on the board years and years ago. But the interesting part is there's 2 or 3 things that I want to be sure that you make the point. Retention is one area I'd like to make a comment about. And everything I see you doing, getting people together, and tonight, although it'll be too late for people on a live broadcast, tonight is one of your networking ideas that's worked well for many years. So please tell us about that, because you'll be continuing networking program. So what's happening tonight?
Tonight is the monthly we do on the second Tuesday of every month, an after-hours networking mixer. Tonight it's at Freeway Airport.
We're going to take a flight.
Oh, yeah.
Which is always a fun one. Stan Rodenhauser is great to host that one. We haven't done it in a few years, but it's always very well attended. And then next month we have one of our newer members, Ace Relocation Service, who are going to host it. And as the Stan's draw is the free airplane rides. Ace Relocation Service is going to raffle off 2 Redskin tickets.
Tonight?
No, at their mixer in October when they host in October. They're down off Trade Zone Avenue, same location down on south on 301 near where Beller Engineering is, back in that business park. So they're hosting that mixer, and then November we will be at Texas Roadhouse, and we're actually going to do that one jointly as the mixer, but we're also going to do one of the Texas Roadhouse fundraisers, they call them.
Yeah.
We did one last year to raise funds for the Youth Leadership Bowie program.
Good.
Where they give 10% back on any dinner tickets. So we're going to try and do those the same night, since we'll have a lot of members there, and Texas Roadhouse is a member, then hopefully they'll stay for dinner, and it'll benefit Youth Leadership Bowie.
That's why you're an outstanding chamber, I tell you. We must wrap up now, but I make mention of Roadhouse. They do a good job. Anything else you'd like to say in this last second?
Yes. Any further information you may need, please don't hesitate to call the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce or check out our website, and you can get all the information, and we would love to have you be a member.
That's great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having us.
Kelly,
Thank you.
take care. I think we should